Hey there, welcome to the Xenodrive video. Let's check out some presets and then we'll follow it up with an explanation of all the controls and all the features. So stick around. If you want to skip all the presets and go straight to the explanation, you can do so by clicking in the index below. Hey, what's going on? Bass Fox here. Very excited today to introduce something truly unique, truly new, which is the Xenodrive by Erica Synths. It's this big box over here. It's actually larger than the Anagram. This is, by the way, the Sterling Joe Dart 3 bass. Just for reference, let's have a listen to what it sounds like with just my basic Anagram preset here, which is just a little bit of tone shaping compression. It's got flat wound strings on, just the volume. I have a noise gate, a preamp, a compressor, a harmonic booster to give it a little EQ, and that's it. Right? And then the effects loop activates when I go to this scene over here. So briefly, to describe the Xenodrive, really it's more than a drive. Erica Synths is a synthesizer company. They make modular synthesizers. I've been reviewing and doing tutorials and video manuals for their stuff for many years, mostly for their synthesizer gear. And now they're doing a lot of these effects. This is the third one of the series. They're all in the same format. So we've done already a video for the night verb and another for the echo locator. So one is a reverb, very fancy, complex, atmospheric reverb, and the other is a delay, also very full-featured, very complex. These are all digital effects, and they're very modern in their conception. The Xenodrive is no exception. Really, the way I would describe it is as an advanced digital synthesizer that uses your input as the oscillator, as the initial oscillator, and then it applies drive and wavetable-based wave shaping. So that's what all these controls do. I've already shown you a lot of the presets that come with it. Those might change a little bit. Mine is a pre-production unit. I didn't even get a printed manual for it, so I had to print my own from PDF they sent me, so I don't forget to mention anything. So this is what the cover will look like. This is the basic architecture of the Xenodrive. Basically, you have a gain section, which the input gain over here, and you have the output volume over here. These two are not configurable via MIDI or anything. They're just manual controls. Everything else can either send MIDI or receive MIDI, so you can actually create automations by recording MIDI to your DAW and then send them back in real time and things like that. It's really interesting. After the initial gain, you get this compressor. So you can set the compressor amount over here with this knob. After that, you have the drive section. So you have drive and tone for that. So that's these two. These two affect the drive section. So this is the drive section over here, right? So this is just the drive. You do have an output EQ over here, so you can add some lows if you need to, and cut some highs. You add some drive there. Already that's super cool for bass, right? Sounds super cool. Let's bring up some of those highs again, bring down the drive a bit. And you can be more subtle with it too, right? Right, so if we bypass it, this is the clean sound, and this is the overdriven sound. Add a little more. You have the tone control here too. That's like a pre-EQ, and this is the post-EQ. By the way, you have a bypass button over here, which you can configure to be controlled via a foot switch that you can plug into the back here. So what's cool about this is you can have it up where you can fiddle with the controls, but still use your feet to activate it and even do some other things. I'm not going to go into every feature of this thing. You have the manual for that. I don't want to bore you. I just want to introduce the unit and show some of its capabilities so that you can see how
all the potential it has for a bass guitar. It's actually not meant specifically for bass. It's probably more geared towards like drum machines and synthesizers and just studio use, or even guitars. But I think it has great potential because, you know, distortion has always been basically, you have three options. You have overdrive, distortion, and fuzz. And this thing is actually something truly new as far as distorting a bass sound goes. So it's exciting. It's exciting because it is a bass synthesizer. You can think of it as a bass synthesizer that takes a completely different approach from the traditional funky, mogy sounding synth bass kind of things like the MXR bass synth. This one is much more geared towards aggressive, almost like industrial kind of music, but it's also a synthesizer. So you can actually, you know, put an envelope filter after the effects loop here and generate harmonics with this thing, and then filter them with something else afterwards, and you get more of that kind of funky Headhunters kind of a sound. But, you know, I digress. Let's continue explaining the sections here. Let's unbypass it. I have to be kind of writing the volume here because obviously more drive gives you more gain, right? Let's bring the drive down a little bit. Let's check out the compressor. I'm going to turn off the compressor here on the anagram. It's a simple compressor, doesn't give you any more controls, more than just a global control, right? So this is like the... Well, the drive also saturates and compresses a little bit, right? And then you turn up the compressor, you get way longer sustain, hear that? That's part of the... That's the first thing, the compressor, followed by the drive, which is drive and tone, like we've seen here already. Following that, you have the wave shaper, which includes the gain here. First, you have to set the mix, right? This is how much of the shaper you want into your main sound. So this is just the drive section, and then you can add in the wave shaper. Now this is the digital wavetable kind of wave shaper circuit here, and it's got an X wave and a Y wave controls, and as you look at the screen here, you can see how it affects the wave shape. This alone is so cool to listen to that. You know. You can add the gain, make it more extreme or more subtle. So you can really dial in, you know, kind of look for that. Now the X mod is how much is like an envelope, right? So it will change the X wave based on how loud you're playing. The sound changes over time, and the wave shape even does as well. Right, as the sound decays, the wave shape changes quite a bit. So in zero, it doesn't affect it at all. To the left, it's a negative envelope. So it's an inverse movement of the X wave. And clockwise, you know, to the right, it's a positive envelope. And you can change the Y wave independently and change the overall sound as well. That alone is super cool. Right, I actually like this. I think I'm going to save this preset. So here's a data encoder and a back button. This is all for the menu stuff, right? So if I click here on patch, I can save this patch. So I'm going to save as, and I can easily name it. I'm just going to name it Q synth, right? at the end here you have the check to say that you're done, and you click on save, and that's it. Another thing that you have here is the wave shaper and wave folder in action here. Right? The wave folder has more to do with the shaper gain, and the wave shaper has more to do with the X and Y controls. This is a nice cheat sheet right here that basically explains what each control does. So let's have a look at what it says about rotate. It says shifts the phase of the current wave shaper wave. You know, I'm not going to get into a complex explanation of what phase is, but you can hear how it affects the sound. Let's have a look at the wave. When you touch any of the wave controls here, you see a display of the waveform. And let's put the X mod in 0 here, so that we can hear really the effect of only the rotate. All right, so this is another control you have to fine-tune your overdriven sound. And then when you find one you like, you know, just riff away. All right, let's add some low EQ here and cut off some highs. Now there's also an EQ shift here, which is kind of like a sweepable filter. And by the way, if you have a MIDI pedal that accepts expression, you can control this with an expression pedal. So you don't have to take your hands off the bass when you're doing it, right? In fact, why don't I do a loop and play around with some things here? There we go. So I can play with the X mod, with the X wave, Y wave. Rotate, the EQ shift, you can add more drive and mix in more of the shaper. This is a cool method actually to find the sound you want. You know, create a loop. That's it. That's nice right there, right? More bite. And if you like, you know, for a certain section or intro or something, you can filter out all the lows and then bring them in. And then the drums come in, boom, right? So there's a lot of amazing possibilities. The shaper gain all the way high gets more gnarly, more crazy. Turn the compressor down a little more so you get more dynamic variation affecting the envelope. But leave it at 50% mix here between the drive. Very cool. Now, there's the screen button here. Let's have a look at the signal flow chart here again. Yeah, so this is, for reference, this is the clean sound of my loop, right? And here's the Xenodrive. Stop the looper for a second here. And as you can see, it also has, you know, a gate at some point, so it's not making noise constantly. When you stop playing, it's pretty quiet, which is different than most distortions. We were having a look at the scream. That's in the EQ section. It creates a feedback. So it's like a resonant filter. It becomes a resonant filter. That's what the scream does. So when the button is lit, extra resonance is added to the equalizer cutoff frequency. So yeah, exactly, that's what it is. It becomes a resonant filter, so even more of like a synthesizer effect, right? Why don't we go back to our loop? Wow, that's gnarly. Now let's shift it with the scream engaged. You can turn it back off. And you can also assign the scream to a foot switch. You can have a dual foot switch with bypass and scream, for example. It's one of the things you can configure. And when you want to configure anything, you just go into the menu here with the back button. For example, in patch, you have the magic option, which generates a random preset. So you can actually, if you don't want to fiddle with the controls and just want to try to find something inspiring, you can use magic to create random patches. I like this one. This is super nice. Yeah, actually, I think it keeps the controls in certain sweet spots because it sounds really, all of them are sounding really nice. I think I like them better even than the factory presets for bass, right? The factory presets are probably more intended for drum machines and things like that. This one's too soft. Now, when I bring the volume up, it sounds nice. It's very sweet. Look, this one lets a lot of the initial attack go through. You still hear quite a bit of the sound of the clean sound of the bass, right? So that's super cool. Let's go back to my Q synth batch here. We'll stop the loop for a second. So yeah, we've talked about the output EQ, which is basically a filter that you can shift the center of it, and you can add resonance to it as well. We've talked about the whole shaper section here with the X and Y, and there's gain and the mix. This is actually X modulation, not cross modulation. You usually see X mod, you think, oh, cross modulation. No, this is really modulation of the X wave, right? So it's the envelope modulation, either negative or positive. We've talked about the rotate, which shifts the phase, about the drive and the tone and the compressor, and that's basically it for all of the onboard controls, the visible knob controls. And then you have some menu stuff, right? Here on effect, you can put the noise gate threshold where you want it, the noise gate release where you want it, dry wet effects level. There's a envelope follower, attack and release you can control. You can turn on morph, which means when you change presets, it smoothly shifts over time from one preset to the other. All of the parameters kind of morph, and that can create some cool effects as well. So yeah, I'm not going to go into all of that. So this was basically just an introduction to all the cool sounds and all of the awesome possibilities that this pedal makes available to the bass player, right? You can look at other videos that people will be making, I'm sure, for other uses of the Xenodrive, but I'm focusing on the bass here today. And I think that'll be it for today. Thanks for watching. Please hit like and subscribe. The channel is very young. It needs your help to grow. Watch the other videos for the echolocator and the night verb. A bunch of other, I've done a review of this bass. I've done a couple of other bass reviews. So that's it. See you soon. Feel the vibration.